Takayuki, Takaya, Oniki. They did a book called Creature Core, and Takaya has a book, Angles of Hunters. And if you can get you can see most of the stuff online now. But this is the stuff that made me and Jared want to do, what we do.
It's a huge influence on us.
And what have we not covered? Oh, once it's baked, we sand it. We sand the hell out of it. We do wet sanding with water. It's less abrasive. Obviously, you dip it in the water and you're sanding it. We start with a rougher grade, obviously, and then we go over it all, and then you go back with a finer grade. You can get finer. Sometimes I do like 3, rough, fine, finer. And
the sanding sponges are great. You can get the sanding sponges at Hobby Lobby or like any hardware store.
Yeah,
pretty much carries the sanding sponges now.
And people say, "You sand your stuff?" Because we're a little rough. What are you going to do? Okay, yeah. I think we can take some questions if you guys are up for it. If you have any. Yeah.
When you send it to the molder and caster and they cut it up, do you trust them to resculpt the edges, or do they send it back to you and you resculpt the edges?
No. Jared cuts it himself.
Right.
He'll cut our pieces before we send it. And he'll correct it. And now, the case where they do that is the bronze foundry. Bronzes need pieces cut in different places than resin casters.
The resin kits, you want to hide the seams as much as you can. But in the bronzes, you want to put the seams in the biggest, flattest open spot, because that's where they have to go back and kind of redo it.
So in the case of bronzes, we send the piece whole, completely built up to them. Their guys cut it, and then they put it back together. They have people who are masters of this, So that's the only case where they would cut our pieces.
Did you send them the original, and then they make the wax, or do you do the wax and send it?
We actually cast a resin kit first, and we send them a resin kit. They can do the bronze from an original, but in our case, everything we've done bronzes up, we had a resin kit first, so we sent them the resin kit. And in resin, we use Steve West of Cellar Cast, who's a master caster.
He's a great sculptor too.
He's a great sculptor too, and that helps. And we use an incredible bronze foundry in Texas. They do mostly wildlife and Western stuff. So when they see our stuff, they're like, "What the hell is this?" Yeah. But they're really great craftsmen, and they're good to work with. Claiborne Moore works with them. Ray Harryhausen works with them. Yeah, some of his bronzes. So,
when you make the actual armature of it, do you make the joints detachable before you make the clay, or do you do it afterwards?
Sometimes we do it as we're going along. It depends on each piece, but like this arm right here, we might decide, okay, this is going to have to come off. So during the process, maybe 75–80% along, we'll cut it off and start preparing those keys. And it's just a process of taking it on and putting it on, back and forth until it fits well. And I always say you want to imagine that your grandmother could put it back together. You know what I mean? That's just a rule of thumb.
Idiot-proof it. And I want to say about the sculpting, when you start, when you have the armature and you're starting, you're using big pieces. This is like broad strokes on a painting canvas. You're bulking it out. You're doing what you have to do. But once it's all there and you're doing, detail work, people are always shocked at how small the pieces Jared and I are putting on. Insanely small pieces, because we're very much an additive type of sculptors. It's like there's a method they call it pushing, right? We build it up like a sand castle, a drip castle, so it gets bigger and bigger from there. There are really good sculptors, like Casey Love. A lot of the Hollywood guys do more raking, where they put more clay on, and with loop tools, they rake away the negative space, right? That's not so much what we do. We build it up and build it up. And
it's almost like dripping a sand castle, but horizontally. It's like very, very small pieces And as we go, they get smaller and smaller. And sometimes you might see me doing things in like a strip, because that's how a lot of mussels are. They're in strips. So that kind of gives it a natural look to build it up in those lines.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
What was that last reference book you mentioned, Annuals of Hunters?
It's called Angles of Hunters. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. That's the top-notch stuff. It doesn't get any better than that.
And this guy, Takaya, I mean, is pretty much regarded as the best sculptor doing what we're doing by virtually everyone, by every sculptor. I mean, Jordu Shell is the best sculptor doing what he does. There's no doubt about that. And Takaya is the best doing what he does, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah.
Could you go through a little bit of detailing process?
Yeah. You know, we use a metal tool for 90% of our work. It's called a burnisher, and it's really for printmaking. It's not for sculpting, but it has a point on one end and it has a little bit of a spoon point on the other. If you email me, I can send a link, show you the link to it.
You can get them at texasart.com.
Yes, and Dick Blick too.
Yeah, Dick Blick too.
They have a weight to them. They're like lead, so it's what we use for 90% of our work.
They're dangerous. You can like drop it and then you like don't want to move
Yeah,
because it's just a metal spike. It's very.
Like I say, some guys use a lot more loop tools, and I mean I have loop tools. I do every once in a while, but it's not something I use a lot. I also like little ball tools where you can get in with the ball and you can. And the detailing is mainly a thing of patience. I mean, if you know what you want it to look like and you're working on it, it's mainly a thing of time. A lot of times kids come up, you know, at Comic-Con or what have you, and they have a sculpture and they say, why doesn't it look like yours? I'm like, well, how long have you been working on it? And they're like 8 hours. I'm like, well, that's why it doesn't look like mine. You might be a genius, but we spend 150, 200 hours on these pieces. So, you know, that's part of it. There's no, I mean, some guys are faster than others. Simon Lee is amazingly fast, but for us, it's a long haul. It's a process where you have to want to sit there for hours on end, you know what I mean, by yourself doing this. You either want to do that or you're not going to do it.
And it's repetition. You know, the more you work, I would like to, probably the tighter the stuff gets, you know.
Yeah.
Our first stuff just looked crazy. You know, we could never show it now unless it was like as a funny haha joke. But, you know, and then slowly after, you know, you do 100, they're a little bit better. And then you do 200 and they're a little bit better. And now, you know, we've just done hundreds and hundreds and they just...
The really good guys in the comic book field, that's what, like I say, that's where we come from. These comic book statues, you know, like Tim Bruckner and Randy Bowen. I mean, you know, look at all that stuff, take it in, and use what you can.
There's so much online nowadays. Like when we first started, there wasn't the big internet, all the information and all the sculpts you could see.
No, totally. But so when we started, we were all using the wrong supplies. We were using the wrong wire. We were using the wrong clay.
Right.
We didn't know. It's a lot easier now. We have a forum online, ShiflettBrothers.com. We have a forum that's all pros and amateurs, just showing pieces and talking shop.
Exactly.
And we'd love for you to come by in there if you want.
Yeah, even if you don't post, I would say just reading
Read
the
some
stuff
of it,
in there.
yes.
You just gain a lot of knowledge, what people, how they've messed up or how it went well or it didn't go.
And you can, if you get stuck at a point in your sculpture, you can ask these guys questions. I mean, there are guys on the forum that are as good as and better than me and Jared. There are plenty of guys that are better than me and Jared on that forum. Simon Lee, for one. David Ming from Weta posts on that forum. Tim Bruckner from DC Direct.
You can get multiple answers too, and that's good
Yeah.
because you can kind of assess it.
Okay. Yeah.
What scale do you use for the work?
We did the stuff. The comic book stuff for Marvel was
About 1/6.
1/6. It was 1/6, and that was all so it would all be exactly the same. So like the whole